What up?
What's up, man?
You got the product?
Yeah, I got the product. You got the money?
Yeah, but let me see the product first. Oh, shit.
Where's the money?
Got it right here. Left a little something extra in there for you.
Hey, man. Look at it.
Hot. It's hot. Ordering from a chef doesn't have to be so discreet. Download the authentic Chef to You app and get chef-prepared meals ordered straight to your door with the click of a button. Download today.
Tummy trying to tell you something? Like it's Beef O'Brady's tacos on Tuesdays? Get 2 tacos. Choose chicken, steak, or fish with chips and salsa. Just $5.49 all day. Beef up your Tuesday at Beef O'Brady's. You call this value? I don't think so. Treat yourself to more with Beef O'Brady's value menu all day, every day from $6.49. Kick back and watch your favorite sports. Relax and recharge. Let Beefs put the U back in value.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Sports Talk 49, live and always exclusively on all streaming networks that have podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all of those, as well as always on NSPN, Tampa Bay TV. I'm going to have fun today because I'm with a Fayetteville, North Carolina legend, and Mr. Adrian Murrell himself. Went to West Virginia, played 9 years in the NFL with the Jets, with the Cardinals, with the Washington football team, and with the Dallas Cowboys. And we're going to talk about the running back market and how it's kind of phasing out. It's becoming a passing game. So I'm interested to hear what Adrian has to say about all these changes in the league since he played running back. Adrian, how you doing?
Blake, how you doing, my friend? Well, hope you are as well this Sunday.
I'm good. I'm doing real good. It's a Sunday. It's great talking about football. Okay. We're waiting for this offseason to get kicked off and start, and waiting to see what your Jets are going to do, especially with the addition of Aaron Rodgers.
Well, to go back to like your opening statement, yeah, I am excited about the Jets, but I guess for the topic today of running backs, yes, it's disheartening to see how they minimize the position in the way they've done it over the course of these last 10, 15 years. A part of the game is running the ball, and whenever you speak of offensive coordinators or head coaches, they're always going to speak about balance of the offense. And so for me, I find it interesting when you've got a guy like Saquon Barkley that accounted for about 40% of their offense, and for them to really not be committed to him long term. So, yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see how it's going to play out. I think that the league is going to have to make some changes. The NFLPA, I think they need to stand up in defense of the running back position. Because the running back position is not going anywhere. A quarterback won't drop back 75 times and throw the ball. You know what I'm saying? So that position is definitely secured for ground control or clock control itself. So I don't know what folks are saying when they're saying this. It's such a passing league. But when I always see that, it's a balanced attack that really wins games or championships.
Absolutely, especially with some of the greatest athletes being on the other side of the ball. And when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about the defensive lineman. That's like you're going against a Myles Garrett, 75 dropbacks, and him not getting to you 3, 4, 5 times a game. And that's just one guy of many. It's just, I'm like you. I think about balance. I think about keeping a defense on its toes, not letting those pass rushers just pin their ears back, rushing all game long. They got to kind of play honestly in the run or the pass.
Yeah, no, I agree with your assessment there. One other point I will like to kind of make in that, there's a lot of discussion about we can plug and play that position, and I think there's something to be said about all positions if you want to look at it in those regards, right? Let's just take Purdy for example. Last year, that was a quarterback, Mr. Irrelevant, the last player picked, and for him to have that type of season with the San Francisco 49ers, it actually goes to the point of plug and play. He fit the system. He went in and he showed an amazing amount of poise and understanding of what they're trying to get accomplished offensively. So, supposed to say it's just that could be for any position. You know what I mean? I just think that it's still just been used to diminish the value of guys that are hitting the market.
No, absolutely. Like I said, especially those guys coming in. Mr. Irrelevant, last pick, he was almost be talking about just fighting for a roster spot if he didn't get drafted. Granted, he made the best of his opportunities, but that's the league. Next man up mentality. I'm sure yourself. Out there, you had to compete against for playing time with Curtis Martin for many years out there in New York. So, taking advantage of your opportunities is key in this league. And then essentially getting paid for your contributions to the team, because I think it's a part that people forget about. You guys put your bodies on the line. You sacrifice your time. You're working in the off season. There's never really no days off if you want to be elite in the league. I mean, you've had a lot of success. You had a lot of 1,000-yard rushing seasons. I mean, speak to that about the workload when the cameras aren't on.
Well, prior to me leaving the Jets, I demanded a trade with Chris Martin. When they had an opportunity to get Curtis Martin, they had, meaning Bill Parcells, had relations with the Patriots, and he's a Hall of Famer, though. He was a pick that worked out well for Parcells and the Jets, but being able to have 1,000-yard season in multiple divisions, AFC and NFC, was definitely that I cherished, and as well as the offensive line, and that gave me an opportunity to go out there and have an opportunity to play at a high level. And fortunately enough, we were able to have some success together.
Absolutely. You definitely had a good coaching tree there, especially Parcells. I mean, was Belichick there for a little while you were there as well?
Yeah. So Belichick was there on Parcells' staff. Those guys were together, I guess most of the 90s. So, it was a pretty good staff. That my year with them, with Bill Parcells, which don't have a lot to do with me offensively, our last game, we were fighting to get into the playoffs. We ended up losing that game to the Detroit Lions. So we ended up 9-7, and going in the tunnel, he says, I'm going to get you some offensive line. So unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to run behind that line, but that would have been pretty special. There were some Hall of Famers that blocked for Curtis as well. So
Curtis Martin, man, as a fun guy to watch back in those days, man. A guy that definitely flew under the radar as far as if you talk about great running backs and things like that. And speaking as yourself as well, you made the most out of your career. You was a 5th-round draft pick, came out of West Virginia. I mean, you was kind of like an agile guy, but also a bruiser when you had to be. So you were a good mix. You remind me a lot of Ben Jarvis Green Ellis, who came many yards after you. A kind of guy that was good at doing both. Played for the New England Patriots and the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, no, I remember him. He was a good running back. Yeah. But getting back to the topic of, the diminished position at running back, I think the league is going to have to make some adjustments to help compensate guys. When I was playing in the 90s, they were saying when a running back got to age 30, that's when they started to see those declines. Which, again, that was what they would use to not pay a running back then. Now they're saying, hey, he's only really good for one contract, after his rookie contract. So, it's to me, I believe that they should value the player, not kind of go with the ebbs and flows of each team. I think that they just use that, or it's been used, just not to pay guys, and that's unfortunate because of these guys. We made the example of Saquon Barkley. Again, this man accounted for 40% of their offense.
Yes,
that's not just running the ball, catching, and and then if you go back and look at dropbacks, how many times, or 7-step dropbacks, how many times did he complete a block from a rushing passer, or had to chip and get out in a route because there was some pass rusher that was giving their tackles some problems. So that's just my take. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased to it. I think that it's a beautiful art in terms of running the ball and being able to catch and block. You're asked a lot. So if our window is short, then they should make some concessions about how you can pay those guys earlier.
Yeah, that's a good conversation to get the compensation in early, so that they get paid if you're talking about, because that's always been the stigma, the 30 years old marker, where they say they begin to diminish, and like you said, you get that one contract extension. There's usually not 2 or 3 after that. But yeah, that's an interesting theory there, paying them early. I guess maybe that is why a lot of these players are asking to be front-loaded contracts now, because at any given time you could go out with a knee injury, ankle, or anything, and now here you are struggling to get a second contract, and you're injured trying to go into that, and you're losing leverage in the negotiation process.
Yeah, but I'm not even talking about injuries. Because injuries are a part of the game in all positions, right? I'm talking about, I think Saquon Barkley's 25, 26. He's young. So he played 4 years, 5 years. He's not even near 30, and they're talking about they don't want to pay him. I think he's got 4 or 5. I think he's no more than 27. I don't even think he's 27. So if they push him out another year by franchising him, and then they have the rights to franchise him again, then he's right up on that number. So if they're talking about you can't franchise a running back, that could be some things that should be looked at. They should be able to go and provide their services if they're playing at a high level and not getting caught up in these games that teams will play.
Absolutely. Do you think with Joe Mixon taking that contract extension for you kind of a reduced pay, do you think that was a good idea to do that now? Because now all the leagues try to pick contract negotiations go off of the contracts, and the contract extension was a 2-year, $11.5 million contract with $4 million guaranteed. Do you think that was a good idea by Mixon and his team, or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, what I won't do is say, hey, that's a good deal. That's a bad deal for the totality of the running backs. We don't know his situation, why he chose to do that deal. But yeah, that. And on the other hand, that is a tool that will be used to try to set the market or reset the market, so to speak. I think that Joe has got some things that may be pressing others on and off the field that may have had him make that deal. So that could be a one-off. But I think that Saquon Barkley, Kamara, all those guys. These guys are still in their 20s, and I think that they've got some longevity left into their careers, right. and hopefully they will be compensated for their values today.
Definitely. I'm all about guys getting paid, especially if you contributed all those years, all that hard work you've put in, and it was to be financially secure for the future, especially when you're talking about banging up your bodies and moving on once you get life after football and things like that. I'm all for you guys, all the players getting paid what they're due.
Exactly.
I said also, I'm going to take up too much of your time, but with the running back position now, I mean, what do you think about the guys that are coming out later in the draft now? Like, I mean, how much do you think that's going to affect those guys now? With, like I said earlier about like Isaiah Pacheco, even guys like yourself are 5th round or later, and now they don't really have a huge leverage in like being drafted in the first early rounds, with demanding a higher pay salary. I mean, what do you think about those guys that are in the later rounds now? Like, do you think it affects them like really like hardcore as far as contract negotiations?
Well, listen, when you get your opportunities, you got to make the most of them. There was a stable of running backs with the Kansas City Chiefs. Injuries, like I said, they are part of the game. And Pacheco, he's an explosive runner, and I think that he's got a lot of value to him. Again, I think there's got to be constructive ways to look at the running back position. If they're saying that the shelf life of a running back isn't what it used to be, or is it just the fact that they're just going to run through as many running backs as they want because that they don't have really, long-term commitments to them. So I don't know, that may, when they say the game has changed as a passing league and that, they don't want to have that type of money tied up into them, then they should look at some sort of, I guess, again, how much did they contribute to the team, and maybe that kind of sets some standards for the running backs.
Definitely could be considered that. Now you got wideouts trying to play running back or playing running back, like Deebo Samuels considers himself, but he got a running wide receiver or whatever he called himself, where he takes handoffs now and things like that. It's been a lot of changes, of course. You said
that is a good point that you make, and I'm glad. I said that is a great point in what you're making, because I was a guy who caught 71 balls in a year. I felt like I was spread. I was sent out far right, on the line and could run routes and things of that nature. Maybe guys, that may be what the game changes to, because you're already doing that as a running back. So if it's no more 3 linebackers in a game, it's 2 linebackers, and how many ever safeties there is, I think running backs match up well with it's what you like. You see what Deebo Sanders is doing, and I think if they call on running backs to line up in the slot or out wide, I think that they can show that their abilities are not just only in the backfield.
Absolutely.
You can't tell me you can't line up Pacheco or even a Saquon Barkley, right?
Right. Yeah, a lot of backs catch a lot of passes these days. Like you said, you caught 71 balls, and there's a lot of backs now that are both dual backs that catch pass protect, and go out and run the ball. So you guys do essentially all the same things as a wide receiver. Granted, you're not running 40 yards downfield, but you are making catches out of the backfield and pass pro, which most importantly, is huge a contribution to an offense. So yeah, what I saw on ESPN earlier, not sure if you saw that, Nick Chubb, they're having, I guess the running backs are having a meeting to talk about, where they're going in the future. So I'm interested to see what happens next at the end of that meeting that they're having. So I don't know.
Right. It's going to be interesting to kind of get the reports back and kind of see where they're thinking. And then, the running backs, with the Players Association, I think there's going to be some healthy discussions there.
Absolutely. And I'm looking forward to seeing.
Well, I appreciate the time, man.
Well, I appreciate you jumping on with me, Adrian. Hey, one quick question: you played for Washington. What do you think about the whole new ownership thing with the Snyder, selling the team? What's your thoughts on that?
Oh, I like it. I went when Mr. Snyder had just bought the team. I think he bought it in '99. I got there in 2000.
Yep.
We may not have seen all of the back office, shenanigans that were going on, but that team was high strung with North Turner being the head coach. Basically, a lot of pressure for him to win, and there was just a lot of talent there. It's good to see ownership there, especially with Magic Johnson. There's a diverse group that is a part of the ownership group, and they are not just they're part of the boys club, if you can call it that. So
I call it the yacht club.
So it's amazing. Mr. Harris is they run a nice ship with the 76ers. So it's good to see Chocolate City team back in play, and the excitement around the Commanders.
Yeah, I love Magic. I just love the energy he brings, and it definitely you already know he's competitive, so that ain't even a question. I just love that. When you see Magic, I tell people just look at Magic. He's made so many smart investments in his life, and I guess this is another one. So I'm interested. I'm all about rooting for the new change, especially with Magic being a part of it. I'm rooting for the Texans with D'Amico Ryans coming on. So I'm excited about a lot of the changes that happen in the league.
I am as well. Yeah, so it's going to be exciting to see what happens. Let's see if there could be some real progress made with the running backs, though. But that is something that is concerning.
Yeah, absolutely. One more thing before you get out of here. I know you played in Arizona, and I'm out here in Tampa. I got to ask you this question: does Simeon Rice belong in the Hall of Fame?
Absolutely. Now, will they do his career Hall of Fame worthy? He's got the numbers. You know what I mean? So, he's a teammate of mine. I thought he was an exciting and amazing. This guy almost ran me down. You know what I mean? When I played with the Jets and he was in Arizona. And you just don't see that type of talent. And he was truly an amazing player. So I'm hoping that he gets there, because we'll go to Canton and support him.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And I just think everybody modeled after Simeon Rice, the body style, tall, lanky, can just reach around. And I think he kind of set a staple for a while in the league. But I'm with you 100%. He belongs in there. You put his numbers up to Michael Strahan, who made it in, and he played against the left tackle, which is essentially supposed to be your best offensive lineman. He played against them mostly his whole career. So it's a lot of intangibles in that. Fortunately, me or you don't have any decision in that, but I'm looking forward to seeing him if he makes it in the Hall of Fame.
We'll see it. We'll see. We'll definitely see, man. Well, I appreciate your time and considering me to get on and kind of share my thoughts with you on the running back play today.
Absolutely. Hey, you want to plug in everything you got going on? I know you got a lot of businesses and stuff going on. You want to plug in where everybody can find what you got going on at?
Well, you can find me at syndev.llc, or you can find me on LinkedIn, Adrian Murrell. What we do, we partner with public and private corporations that believe in diversity and inclusion. We love it here in North Carolina with some of our partners, and check us out, see what we're doing.
Absolutely. And as you check Sports Talk 49 out, check out Adrian Murrell out as well. Like I said, Fayetteville, North Carolina legend, and glad to have him on today. And we'll end this as we always do. You're the master of everything. What you do with your life, what you do with it is entirely up to you. Thank you, guys. God bless. And as always, fire those cannons.